Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla and let's go over what in the hell is happening with the stock right now. Again, hopefully not too surprising, but nonetheless, we'll still go over. I'll give you guys my thoughts and what I personally think will happen moving forward for the rest of the month and going into next month as well. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button as it does help a lot. Again, this is not financial advice. Make your own decisions, do your own research. And again, I have my membership section live, $2.99 a month. The link is down below, where essentially I post my intraday thoughts on Tesla as it's moving throughout the day and try to help guide you through essentially the price action, if you will, overall. The link is down below if you're interested. But jumping right into it, Tesla down 6%, just over 6%, putting us at just over $241 per share. Compared to the market, absolutely underperforming the market unquestionably whatsoever. So what does this mean? Is this the bottom, right? Can Tesla go down even further? Like, is it time to rally, or what's going on? What's happening? Well, obviously, since, if you talk about like, let's say from all the way up here, just from like open market hours, not after market, we actually went a little bit higher, pretty much 280. But just from open market hours, we've already dropped in about 13% in really just a few days. I mean, how many days has it been really? It's pretty much, if you include from this candle right here, 1, 2, 3, 4 days. It's really not that much, less than a week of trading essentially, right? And Tesla has dropped a decent amount, almost 15%, which is a decent fall. Now, again, it's a pretty ugly looking candle. That's number one, right? First and foremost, ugly looking candle, RSI is pointing straight down. And then there's a few very important things to understand here. So first and foremost, unfortunately, we did close at the low of the day, which is definitely not showing any, positive signs. Let's just say that, showing that the buyers really aren't stepping in full force, or they're just simply exhausted. I personally think they're just simply exhausted, and now people are starting to take profits as Tesla's falling. But with that being said, what does this mean, right? Can we go down even further, or is this, the bottom, or, what's happening with all of this, right? So first and foremost, you can see we are somewhere trading around this little situation right here. You can find ourselves in, right? Where, you can make an argument, the fact that we are going to go a little bit more lower, probably to gap fill, if not just, barely touch, in my opinion, probably like maybe even just barely visit the 220s. But the thing I'm looking at right here is as follows, right? So we talked about this last week, and we talked about how, we are potentially setting up a head and shoulders. I'm pretty sure I said this in the video. I did talk about it in my membership section right here. But hopefully I talked about it in the video. I'm pretty sure I did. But nonetheless, head and shoulders pattern right here, right? And again, the way usually you want to kind of, look at this overall is going to be, you measure from the top of the head to the neckline break, roughly, right? Or the neckline itself, rather. The neckline was somewhere around the 250 area, we'll just say, give or take, right? It was 250 to 247, somewhere around there. We'll just do 250 for now. So usually, again, this is just a rough way of estimating it, but you can kind of measure from, let's say, roughly around here all the way down to around 250. Again, super rough. And then you measure it from the break point, which was right around here, which was today. And this brings us down to somewhere around the 230s, potentially even 225-ish level, which is my kind of ultimate price target, right? So that's number one, right? Could be a potential inverted head or just regular head and shoulders playing out, and it is playing out right now. It has broken down, and it's not looking that great as of right now. Obviously, I am more bullish down here than I was up here, right? That's number one. But with that being said, I do think that there is potential to go a little bit lower, as much as I hate to say it. I do want to flip bullish and like just straight up bullish, but I am definitely more bullish than I was back up there. But I definitely think that there is still more room for downside. I have personally started buying this dip right here. I have been buying today, in the low 240s. And I will continue buying as long as it keeps falling. My buy range is pretty much really right around where it consolidated around here. So the 244s, 245s, all the way down to as low as like 215. That whole range is my buying range. So it's a pretty massive range, right? That's like a 10% range, but that whole 10% range to me is just buying range, right? But again, so that's number one. Number two, potentially, there is still a possibility of this, especially if we gap up tomorrow. We'll see, of course, if it happens, but we did break down below a pretty crucial level here of like 242, 243, where you can see we had a bit of support here, a lot of candles, wicks at the bottom. Same thing kind of happened here. We came back to that exact same area, and I was actually kind of hoping it would hold here, because I thought if it would hold here, then again, there's still a chance it happens if we gap up tomorrow. But what that would have set up to me is a bit of an inverted cup and handle pattern, where it would have went something like this, right? Unfortunately, we did break down towards the end of the day and broke below this overall level, which I thought was pretty important to hold this 243 level, which is a little bit unfortunate, right? And we are breaking below a little bit lower than I wanted to see. So, I'm not really sure how much this is going to play out. It really depends on how we open tomorrow. If we gap up tomorrow, especially if we gap up above like 243, I would say, which would be an increase of about from here, at least like a percent pre-market, which again, is possible. You never know, but we'll see if it happens. If it doesn't, whatever. But the point is, if it does happen, then I definitely can see something like this playing out. This cup and handle, we rally back up to at least 250, if not maybe even 255, and then from there we reject and then ultimately go even lower. That truly would not surprise me. That's the second overall pattern I can foresee happening. But the main one for sure is that in a regular head and shoulders pattern that I just showed you guys. Very crucial to understand, right? So the fact that we broke down below the support level over here, which we tried holding right over here towards the end of the day, is a little bit unfortunate, which to me tells me that we're probably coming down to somewhere around this gap fill of around 234, 235-ish dollars per share. Right, that's the first, or rather the next level I'll be personally paying attention to. And again, I personally think if we can come down easily down all the way to even 220, potentially even like 215, maybe even 210, right? That really wouldn't shock me. Again, going back to the weekly, as I talked about, very crucial, right? Again, you can come all the way down as low as about the 210s. Like that to me is the lowest. I don't think we'll go much lower than 210. That'll be like the lowest I think it can go, which from here, it's still another like 10% drop. And again, I am buying shares, and I bought like fairly aggressively, I would say. Not really aggressively, but I'm definitely buying, and I still have a decent amount more I can buy moving down, and I will continue buying the dip. But the reason I'm doing it now, because you might be wondering, well, if you think it's going that much lower, why would you even remotely start buying now? Well, that's because I don't know for sure if it's going that much lower, right? I don't know for sure it's going to 210. I don't know for sure it's going to 215. Maybe it only goes to 230, and that's enough, right? Maybe it goes to 225, maybe 235, maybe just this gap fill, right? No one knows for sure where it'll stop and where it'll bounce, right? But I do know that this overall range is a good range to at least start slowly accruing. Again, another way you can look at it is simply the the Fibonacci, right? From the swing low to the swing high, potentially you can assume it's something like this, right? We have the 0.382 level at 234 exactly on the gap fill, and the potentially more important and valid level being this 0.5 level of 220, right? So those are the levels I would personally be paying attention to. You can even drag it down here instead, and it kind of gives you a similar idea. Maybe in this case, it'll be 230 all the way down to 215. But again, that overall range is crucial to me. So that's kind of the way I'm seeing it. But again, I personally would not be surprised if we ultimately come down something like this. Either from here, we go up to retest this breakdown that we finally had, right? This whole area that was acting as a lot of support and resistance back here. So resistance here, support, right? And then we come back up to retest it again. Usually when you break out of a situation that acted as a support or resistance, you come back to retest it, and then usually the retest is, holds true, and then you follow through continued for the move. So in this case, it'll be something like from here back up, and then we continue down even further. The other option is, of course, we actually just continue moving down in the morning tomorrow, and then we from there bounce up, get a beautiful bounce from here to around 250, and then from there make our way lower to around 220 to 215. Something like that can also happen to Tesla. So that's kind of the main thing I'm seeing now. Looking at the RSI on the 1 hour, you can see really not showing too many good signs, right? It's just continuing following down on the 1 hour, right? Still making lower lows, not really looking too bullish yet. It's almost entering oversold territories, but as you know, you can be oversold and overbought for an extended period of time, as we saw very well over here. We entered oversold territories back all the way out here at like 190, but we still rallied from pretty much straight there up to $280, which is pretty ridiculous to me that we even did that, honestly, but nonetheless it happened, right? And then another thing important to understand is, remember how I said whenever this teal line breaks, that's when most likely the downtrend begins. Well, you can see that so far seems to be the case, right? As we broke down this teal line, we started trending down. Again, it doesn't happen like literally right then and there, but you can see the trend has definitely shifted to the downside now. So very important that you kind of sometimes these really simple things are really just sometimes really all it takes, right? So important things to understand regarding all of that as well. But that's kind of the overall gist of what I am seeing. Again, either we bounce from here to 250, or I think we come down to gap fill, then bounce from around that 234 to $230 per share, and then we run up to I think around maybe even as high as 247 to 250. From there, I think we'll reject, and I think from there we'll also continue making our way down even further. Again, probably to around 220, give or take, of course, 215, 220, 225, somewhere around that general range is what I personally foresee happening, and I am all for it as well. I'm very excited for that, and I cannot wait to potentially, buy that dip, if you will. So that's kind of what I am seeing right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think down below. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit it with that like button, as it does help a lot. Also, the last thing I do want to mention very quickly is, of course, the 21 EMO. We are approaching the 21 EMO, which is pretty much sitting right at the gap fill of around 234 to 235. So we'll see if that adds as any potential support. The 100-day moving average is well below us. 50 is well below us. 200 is well below us. So I don't think we'll be touching those bad boys just yet. But of course, a lot of people have been talking about the crossover with the 50 crossing over the 200, which usually is a bullish sign. This usually indicates that the bull trend is back. That it's back in like a positive trend, if you will. I don't know. A lot of people like to look at it. the way Tesla moves though, and the way Tesla is, and the way how volatile it is, and how I don't know. I personally don't put too much weight into it. Just my opinion, of course. You know, you can. I mean, you can argue the fact that, oh, it crossed here and then, you know, but it's already fallen quite a bit from there. So I don't know. I personally don't put too much weight into it. I know a lot of people like to look at it and be like, wow, look at it cross. It's bullish. I don't know. I don't like to put too much weight into that. You know, if it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. There's other ways I personally like to value and determine if a trend is bullish or not for a stock. And my ways of essentially just breaking pretty much resistances. Like for instance, breaking this blue line, this T line right here. Beautiful, you know, way of number one. And number two will be this red line, which I do think ultimately Tesla will break, but at the moment, clearly not yet. So that's kind of what I am seeing right now. Yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. I still remember people telling me that I'm going to miss the biggest opportunity to buy Tesla in 260s. I don't know, man. The thing you guys have to understand when it comes to sentiment as well is whenever you see, so for instance, remember back when we were down here at like 100s and all the bears were like, man, they even got me in all honesty. Like they're like, oh, 100 Tesla is going to 70 next. No excuses, 100%. It's going to 70. Unquestionably, it's going to 70, right? Absolutely did not go to 70. In fact, it actually went quite the opposite. You know, bulls and bears are this. They're the same. They're this. What is it? The same side of the same coin, just different sides, or whatever that saying is. But pretty much, they're the exact same thing. These ultra bulls as the ultra bears, right? Ultra bears got greedy, went down to 100, and they still thought it'll go to 70. Just as the bulls, for some reason, think that Tesla can rally like 60% in a month, and for some reason, it's still going to go to 300 because why not? Really, no reason behind that other than why not. When you hear a lot of people start spouting nonsense like that, that's when you have to start doing the contrary, the flip. Just, you know, kind of, you know, just something to pay attention to, in my opinion, again. So that's kind of what I like to use my comments for. Whenever I see everyone just saying this complete nonsense in the comments below, I'm like, okay, we've got to be pretty damn close to the top. And a lot of people were screaming 300 back when we were sitting all the way up around this level. And I don't know, it's just ridiculous to me. How greedy can you get, honestly? But all that being said and done, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.